What is going on, guys? Miles here, and today I'm going to be sharing my thoughts with you guys on the recent Infinite Warfare supply drop update. I'm a little bit late to this, but hopefully you guys don't mind, and let's do this. Just in case you guys don't know, a couple of days ago there was a massive update to Infinite Warfare supply drops where they added a bunch of new camos, a bunch of weapon variants, cooling cards, etc. And a lot of the community got really upset about it, including myself, for a number of different reasons. And the first thing they added was the Mark II weapon variants, which are exactly the same as all the weapon variants we currently have in the game, except when you use these variants you're not allowed to use the camo which you like, as you have to use the camo which they come with, and also they give you 15% bonus XP. And I forgot to mention, you can't actually craft these weapons using salvage, and you can only get them through supply drops, which is a big issue in my opinion, and I think that's kind of unfair. But once again, I don't really care, because they are exactly the same as the other weapon variants, except you can't choose your camo, which is a bad thing, and they give 15% bonus XP, which I don't really care about. The main problem I have with all of these weapon variants is that it's going to be really difficult to get salvage for a very long time, because all of the weapons you have previously you can unlock again in the Mark II version. So say you already had the NV4 Fallout, you can get that in Mark II and you won't be able to burn it for salvage, even though it's pretty much the exact same weapon with a couple of minor differences. Getting salvage in Infinite Warfare was already really difficult, and it's going to be even harder to get now, not just from the weapon variants, also all of the camos and cooling cards which were added to the game. It's going to make it super difficult to actually get this salvage, especially for the high ranked people, because one of the ways to get salvage, aside from supply drops, is through mission teams, and a lot of people have actually completed those by getting them all to level 50, so their only way of getting salvage is through supply drops, which is going to be incredibly difficult for a while. Let's say there's around 30 weapons in Infinite Warfare multiplayer, and each one has an average of 5 weapon variants for them. That leads to 150 different weapon variants which have been added in this update, which are exactly the same as all the other weapon variants in the game, but you won't get salvage for the first time unlocking them, which I think is really stupid, and I don't think Mark II guns should even be a feature. I don't really care about the bonus XP, I'm not too into leveling up competitively, but I understand why some people would be, and I just think they're a really bad feature in general, and they weren't very creative, and they should probably be removed from the game. So I've established that these Mark II variants are absolutely horrific, although I don't even think that was the worst feature in the recent update which was added today. The worst thing which I think was added were 100 different camos for each weapon in the game, which is absolutely ridiculous. If you head over to weapon camos and head over to Quartermaster, there's 120 different camos for every single weapon in the game. And sure, in Infinite Warfare you don't actually unlock camos for one weapon only, you unlock them for a class of weapons, but let's say there are 6 different classes of weapons, at least there's 720 different camo items which you can now get from supply drops. So once again, you're probably not going to be getting any salvage anytime soon from duplicates. You'll only be getting them from the rare supply drop bonus, which is only around like 10 salvage per one, as you may have saw in my supply drop opening on my main channel. But I wouldn't even be mad at 120 different camos if they were actually well designed, which is definitely not the case in the update. I genuinely tried to spend some time trying to figure out what went through the minds of like these developers in order to like actually add these camos to the game, because they are just absolutely awful, and I've never seen worse camos in the Call of Duty ever. Even from like the mods from like Modern Warfare 2 were by far better than some of these camos. The first one I have right here is Operation Black Ice, which looks a little bit bland, right? It is a common camo after all, but we currently have a camo called Murdered out in Infinite Warfare multiplayer, which literally looks exactly the same, except that the Quartermaster camo doesn't have a couple of like red dots on it. If you're thinking, well, only one camo out of the 123 are actually bad, you are incredibly wrong. So we have a rare camo right here called Like a Fox, which is pretty ironic. I don't know if that was like a pun or something, because if you look at the combat knife below, it looks absolutely horrific. You don't even see a fox. There is no fox on this camo. It's just like a brown splurge, like a bit of dirt on your combat knife with a white handle on it, which looks like it's just a joke. I think that's actually an emblem in the game, which they just threw onto a weapon and added it as a camo, which is super lazy. And as you can see, that does not look like a fox. Here we have Feral Instincts, another rare camo, but if my instincts tell me anything, that does not look like the picture which we see on the left hand side on the camo. It looks like a fire on your weapon. I have no idea what that's supposed to be. Well, it's obviously supposed to be a bear, which I think may actually be a calling card or an emblem currently in the game once again. But that is just an awful job. It was horrific. Like, did anyone at Infinity Ward or Activision like see this camo and see that it looks absolutely awful, but they still decided to add it to the game? Like, I really don't understand how this camo made it into the game. Maybe you'll get lucky and get a USA style camo on your weapon, which would be cool if you were actually from the USA. I don't really see why it's sort of like random and you can get a random country on your weapon. It doesn't really make sense unless you're from USA, and they shouldn't be in supply drops anyway. If anything, these like country camos should be a part of like a separate DLC which you just buy straight away, which will prevent people like me from the UK getting a camo which represents the United States. And we haven't even mentioned how bad the camo looks on this weapon. But at least we can celebrate Christmas at any time of the year with this final camo, which I'll share with you guys right now. Wait, this isn't a Christmas camo. It is the Italian flag on your weapon, tilted at 45 degrees for whatever reason. Just awful. But there we have it. I just wanted to share my thoughts on the recent Quartermaster update with you guys, which added over 700 new items to the game. So have fun getting any salvage and crafting any weapons you desire anytime soon, because that's going to be very difficult now. And also the camos are definitely the worst thing I've ever seen in a Call of Duty title. And honestly, I really hope they're either removed or improved. I don't know what one they're going to do. I don't really see them removing them from the game because people have obviously already bought supply drops probably with COD points and already have these camos, so it'd be a bit strange to remove them, but they've done a really bad job. Like, definitely the worst thing out of anything I've even seen. It's just unbelievable how like a AAA game which makes like $1 billion in revenue comes out with camos like a fox, as you can see right here. It just looks so bad, and I can't explain why this is in the game, like in a AAA game which has micro DLC. It just really hurts my head and I'm super disappointed in the game. But that's my rant over. Goodbye.